You are Locked On Rockets Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And it is a wonderful night for the Houston Rockets as they take care of business against the San Antonio Spurs. Something that never gets old as we have watched these two teams battle it out for a very long time. The Rockets getting the victory over San Antonio tonight on a night where things looked good really from the opening tip. Yeah, the fourth quarter, look, with backups in, little bit of bad in terms of releasing some of that lead. But all that matters at the end of the night is that you find a way to get the victory, and the Rockets really took control of that game from the tip as they are back to playing a lot better basketball than they have been. Hello and welcome tonight to the Locked On Rockets Postcast. Thanks for joining us here. I am your host, Michael Connor. Appreciate you guys, as always, for stopping by. If you're watching this live or recorded later on, make sure that you hit the subscribe button to the channel. Share it with your friends, your family, whoever it is, and make sure you come back to the Locked On Rockets Postcast every time that we have one of these shows when the game's just about wrapped up. Yeah, I know we started with like 40 seconds left in the game tonight. Sorry about it. It was over. The Rockets with the victory tonight. They're improving on the season to 37-22. Really, a lot of the things that stand out we're going to get through, including your thoughts on, hey, is this team finally getting their mojo back? And are you, as a fan, not that you didn't believe before, but are you getting closer to that belief point that you had when they were absolutely rolling people there for a lengthy period of time? And also at the point where they were locked into that 2 seed in the Western Conference. We're going to get through all of it tonight. First, we're going to break down, of course, more than anything else, the win over these San Antonio Spurs. From the jump tonight, look what stands out more than anything else. The Rockets starters were awesome. Amin Thompson and Jalen Green had a night. Jalen was phenomenal to start the basketball game. Absolutely phenomenal. Shooting numbers went a little bit down towards the end, but he ends up with 21 points on the night, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. And then Amin Thompson just showed up, and he showed out like he likes to do. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 block shots. He is blossoming into a star in the NBA in front of our eyes. We've talked about this a lot. But this is the kind of stuff that this team, has needed, from their best guys. And Jalen Green's playing good basketball. And it's kind of, it's kind of telling, of course, when you play better basketball, your better players typically play, well, guess what? Better basketball. And that's what they got tonight out of those guys. We've kind of seen them toy with how they're going to, and I got to apologize in advance as I'm doing this show live. And if you're listening on the Locked On Rockets audio feed, if there's a brief, sudden stop of the show, don't think that it's not there anymore. I have been sneezing my head off all day today, and I feel one at the moment. There's whatever's in the air, the allergies. Spring is starting to spring over here in Houston already, and it's messing with my nose today. So sorry in advance if you have to watch me sneeze. That's exactly what you get into YouTube for, is to watch people sneeze on YouTube. I got into watching the Rockets game, though, tonight to watch them do what they did. And, something that I've talked about in some recent shows has been, the Rockets have a lot of these games where you kind of look at it going in and you say, all right, well, that's one that you have to win, You never want to use the word must in sports. And there's not really a must, but look, the Rockets in the Western Conference standings, as I mentioned, they win again tonight. They continue to roll. They're now 37-22 on the season. They sit at the moment. Has ESPN updated it yet? They haven't updated it yet, but they should be a half game ahead of the Lakers as the 4 seed in that competition for 4 or 5. Well, Is that right? Yeah, because they'll be 2 ahead in the win column and they'll be a game behind in the loss column. I don't know. I'll just let it update when it updates. Lakers have been surprisingly good. I think best record in the NBA in the last, couple weeks. But this was one of those games tonight that, you know, this team had to have, and they got it. And even better news now is, on top of all this, they're gonna get a couple of days off, but they're gonna play another team on Saturday that is incredibly beatable in Sacramento Kings, and they're gonna do it with Fred VanVleet. And finally, this team is getting back to full strength. Had Jabari come back, and you're going to run into these problems that we've talked about. It's going to be real interesting to see what Ime Udoka does on Saturday with his lineup, because Fred VanVleet's going back into that starting lineup. You can't take a Min Thompson out. He's got to play, and he's got to play the minutes that he plays. And your typical guys. The question is going to come down to me, is it Dillon Brooks? Is it Jabari Smith going to the bench? I think it'll end up being Jabari. They're still going to play him starters like minutes, but it's going to be interesting to see. Dillon Brooks tonight, by the way, too. Props to him. He was great. 19 points. Really good offensively early on. Old man Jeff Green off the bench. 13 points for him tonight. Rockets shoot 40. They didn't even shoot the ball that well tonight. Really, I mean, the backups in the fourth quarter giving up, or I should say only scoring, what did they score? Like 17 points in the fourth quarter. That'll do it. Rockets shot the ball really well early on. They shot 60% from the field in the first quarter, 43 from three. Second quarter, they popped off. What were they in the second quarter? 48 and 33. First half overall, 54 and 37. Third quarter, 48 and 38. And then, of course, the fourth quarter, like I mentioned, was not very good. They shot 0% from three. Wow, that's impressive to go an entire 12 minutes and not make 1 3. And then they shot 30% from the field. So that really dragged the numbers down tonight. But they did a little bit of everything. They got on it from the start. That's the most important thing, is that you have one of these kind of games. They did not come out tonight, and they did not let Spurs dictate pace. They did not let the Spurs dictate the mood of the game. And they went ahead and put it out of reach early. And then look what gets to happen at the end of the game. Guys get to sit and not play a bunch of minutes, which you have to love that. You go back and look at the totals tonight for the starters. It's still low. 29 for Dillon, 32 for Jabari. Alpi only ends up playing 18. He wasn't very good tonight. He did play well in other facets, but offensively, he was not very good tonight. He was, 1 of 5 from the field. Yeah, I was looking at this. I was like, oh my God, did he go 0 from 7 from the free throw line? No, he was 7 of 8 from the free throw line. I was looking at the 0 for the 3-point attempts. But not a great offensive night for him. Not a good offensive night. Jabari was terrible, by the way, offensively. I say Alpi was bad. Jabari was bad offensively. He was 4 of 15. Yikes. But those guys really stepped up and did their thing tonight. Is this team getting their mojo back? Do you feel like they're getting back into the swing of things and looking a little bit more like the basketball team that you loved a lot earlier this season? We'll talk about that next year on the Locked On Rockets Postcast after this win against the San Antonio Spurs. Right now, though, I want to tell you about Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risks. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 per month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Locked On Rockets Postcast after the nice win over the San Antonio Spurs. 118-106 is the final. I'm your host, Michael Connor. If you're new to our channel tonight, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening to us on the Locked On Rockets audio feed, please go and find our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button. We will greatly appreciate it as the channel continues to grow. We're getting ready to get into busy season on this channel. We've got Rockets, of course, going on. We're going to have Astros baseball back here in a month for regular season action. We're also going to have U of H basketball in the tournament. I believe the plan is to do tournament games. We will get you all the details on that when we have it. They're kind of good. In Houston, you know what we've got right now? We've got good we've got good everything. We've got good football. Got good basketball. We got good baseball. Are any of them championship contenders? Maybe only one in the University of Houston Cougars. But that's okay. I'll take good over bad. Wouldn't you rather be watching good games every night than bad games? That's what we're getting here. Hey, by the way, speaking of this show on the Locked On Rockets audio feed, you can check out the Locked On Rockets podcast, which is a daily podcast hosted by Jackson Gatlin. Make sure you go check out his work. Check out the podcast on YouTube as well. Hit the subscribe button. He is always keeping you up to date on everything that is going on with your Houston Rockets. Rockets getting their mojo back? Is that the vibe you're getting out of the All-Star break now? Now look, since they've come back, you know, they had that really, really rough loss to Utah. I mean, it was really, really rough. But they've won 3 out of 4 games. Turns out all 3 games that they've won have been home games as well, which is good. Yeah, they beat Minnesota out of the break. Went back-to-back and lost to Utah. This back-to-back stretch, thank goodness, for at least a period of time, comes to an end. The Rockets were on a back-to-back out of the break. They were on a back-to-back here tonight. They won the back-to-back. They play Saturday, and they get a night off till Monday. But don't you worry. They play back-to-back, and then they play Thursday night next week. So they play 3 out of 4 days and 4 out of 6 next week. They are going to be very busy next week. But they've come out of that break again with 3 out of 4. Good win against Minnesota. Tough loss against Utah. Really good, hard-nosed defensive win last night against Milwaukee. And really good win again tonight where you took out the garbage from the jump and got the win. It feels like they're getting right. Now, I know that the health situation tells you that they're getting right. But there was a little bit of this, you know, momentum, swagger, mojo, whatever you want to call it early in the season for this Rockets team. And as the season moved along, it picked up momentum, and it got really good. And I think they ran the stat on the TV before the game tonight. I can't remember the exact. I know that the Rockets have a losing record without Fred VanVleet. He's a big deal. Not having him has hurt this basketball team without a doubt, you know, on a nightly basis. And it kind of, you know, it made me think about everything. It made me think about where this team is going. It made me think about, are they good enough to get back to the spot that they were in, and are they good enough to be the contender in the Western Conference that they appeared to be? I still believe, of course, that they are a contender in the Western Conference. It all gets back to, I don't have a lot of belief in the Western Conference overall. I mean, Oklahoma City if you played the on-paper game, Oklahoma City is getting to the NBA Finals out of the West. They look that good. We'll see Oklahoma City, by the way. That one is coming up on Monday night. That'll be fun. Looking forward to doing that game. That one's at OKC, by the way. That would be it's not the last time. You get one more matchup against them later in April, towards the end of the season. But they look legit. Memphis, I'm sorry. I'm not saying that they're not talented. I just don't buy them. And I think one of the biggest reasons is they're not very good defensively at all. And they're giving up 116.6 points per game this year. There are only two teams in the Western Conference that give up more points per game than them, and they're the two worst teams. And that's the New Orleans Pelicans and the Utah Jazz. So I can't credit to them for hanging on where they're at. I cannot take them completely seriously because I think that you could just blow right by them because they just cannot stop anybody. Denver, you always have to respect Denver. They have the experience. And they have still one of the best players on the planet, Jokic. I personally don't think that the Lakers are a championship contender by any means, but look, I have to give credit where it's due. They have played great basketball over the last few weeks. They are red hot. They've soared well above 500. LeBron is still a really good player at the age of 40 that plays no defense. They've added Luka, and he's getting there, but he also plays no defense. That's why I don't respect them as a team that's a big title contender come playoff time. Then you got the Rockets and the Clippers. Zero respect here for the Clippers. We all know why. They have James Harden on the bench or on the floor, and, well, James Harden will find his way into a certain establishment in the playoffs wherever they end up, more often than he will scoring buckets. Play-in teams behind the Minnesota, Golden State, Dallas, and Sacramento. Minnesota does scare me of those teams. They play pretty darn good defense in terms of what they give up per game. And then I guess the Golden State Warriors are always lingering, but they just don't scare me anymore. Not one bit. So with that the Rockets have gotten to this point that it feels like they've gotten their mojo back, does it happen to have you believing like you were earlier this season? Let's talk a little bit more about that as we continue our discussion. The Rockets getting a nice and easy win tonight over the Spurs, 118-106. More on that next here on the Locked On Rockets Postcast. NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass. Every time a player drops 50 or more in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When a player scores 50 or more in a game during the 2024-2025 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. There's a lot of great ways that you can take advantage of this. Like maybe you're having a little game day feast going on. After that epic 50 performance, you can celebrate by ordering wings, pizza, or burgers from your favorite spot delivered straight to your door. Maybe you're getting the late night crate. Look, it's late night right now. It's 11:17 as we're doing this show live. You need to get, yourself taken care of. Stay up, watch the highlights from tonight. And you do that by getting the midnight snack. Use DoorDash to grab something delicious while saving big. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day, up to $10 off. Use promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Rockets Postcast, Locked On Rockets Postcast tonight. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Michael Connor. If you're with us live and you are new to our channel, you've not hit the subscribe button wherever it is on the screen, down there somewhere, smash it. And if you're watching it later on, smash it as well. We appreciate you. We're talking about the Rockets win over the Spurs tonight. I really no drama involved. And isn't that what you want as a fan? I know that we always love games that are back and forth and whatnot. And we love tight games at times because the stress of it that it brings. Last night was tight. I got no issue. None with having nice and easy wins. And I never have an issue with nice and easy wins when you're able to get guys off the floor a little bit, get them off those legs, because the Rockets are still going to be busy. I mentioned it. They've got to play 3 out of 4 nights next week, 4 out of 6 total in the next week. A lot of basketball to be played. And some of it's going to be on the road as well, as they will play. Let me see here real quick. Actually, a lot of it's on the road. I'm sorry. They're going to play Sacramento Saturday at home, and then they're going to go to Oklahoma City, to Indianapolis to play the Pacers, and then to New Orleans before coming back home to play the New Orleans Pelicans again next Saturday. But again, you look at that schedule, Sacramento, you should beat them. I know that they've lost to them this season. Oklahoma City will be tough, but they have beaten them on the road this year. Indiana is, top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, so that's not going to be easy. And then the Pelicans stink. They're not interested in winning. So this should be a good week for the Rockets. Should be. Let's hope that it is for this basketball team. We'll see exactly what happens for them over the next week. But I feel this way. I feel like I am confident once again that they can make some moves come playoff time. I am feeling like defensively they're starting to look a lot like the team that I believed in earlier in the season, that I think everybody believed in, that they're getting, what do you know? You get pieces back like Jabari Smith, and suddenly defensively you're a little bit more dangerous. Who doesn't love to be dangerous? I love being dangerous. You had the rise of Amin Thompson this season. You're going to get Fred VanVleet back. He matters, both offensively and defensively. And you can kind of feel it. These guys can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It is a long season. I love the NBA. I love basketball. And call me an old curmudgeon if you'd like. I guess the older that I get, the more I wonder, why do we play 82-game regular seasons? I know it's never going to change. You're barking up the wrong tree for that one, because there's too much money involved and the TV deals are never going to change unless the TV networks stop bidding on the packages because they say there's too much. It's never going to happen. But yeah, I could live with a 60-game season. That's just me. That's fine. I shouldn't say that because then it'd be less shows to do with you guys. But the light at the end of the tunnel is coming. April will be here before you know it. And the regular season will wrap up, and the Rockets will be right back at it in the playoffs. And man, it's going to be nice to be back in the playoffs. It is going to be awesome. It's been so long now. It's been 4 years or whatever. We deserve that fun. And we deserve them getting right back into it and winning games at a high clip. And I think that they can. Matchup specific is, of course, going to matter. Hand up. Not scared of playing the Lakers at all. I know that you've got one of the greatest players ever on that team, but they don't do a thing to scare me. Luka always plays well against the Rockets. That's a problem. But guess what you're doing the entire series? You're attacking him, and LeBron's going to give more defensive effort in the playoffs, but you're attacking Luka the whole time. That's it. Guess what'll probably happen? You'll probably succeed quite a bit. But you guys throw in the comments, are you back to believing like you were, say, a month and a half ago, before the long losing streak going into the break? So maybe like 2 months ago, whatever it was. Are you back to feeling those vibes? I will admit right now, I am back to those vibes for that basketball team. I'm also loving the vibes of you guys staying up late with me live here on this show. I am grateful for it. Again, if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Come back. We'll be back with you Saturday night after the Rockets take on the Sacramento Kings, and what will hopefully be a nice and easy win like tonight was. That's always something that you're looking forward to as well, is a getting wins over teams that you should get wins over, and they should get a win, even if that is a play-in team right now in the Western Conference. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night. Again, we'll talk again Saturday night after Rockets and the Kings on the Locked On Rockets